Real quick before we get into today's video, just want to thank the people over on Patreon who have taken the time out to help support the channel, and just got to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for your support. Once I start offering memberships and figure out what to offer for memberships on this channel, I'll start adding the names of YouTube members as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the review. Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys a review for Boruto episode 176, and episode 176 is finally done and in the books. And I gotta say, man, hands down, this is probably the most important transition episode that you're going to have in this arc. And I gotta say, for really a end of the arc slash transition episode, this is very, very important. People who read the manga know hands down what I'm referring to. So let's go ahead and start with the ending here. So I'm gonna have to walk a very fine tight rope because I don't want to spoil the anime only fans, because we're going to be going into the Owl arc right after these next few transition episodes, which according to the promotional information we have for those episodes, those have direct manga tie-ins. So do not skip the next few episodes. They might seem like filler to you, but they have direct tie-ins to the manga. So at the end of the episode, we see a couple of things I've been telling you guys is probably going to be the case, and sure enough, the anime actually confirms it. So number one, we find out that Jigen was not aware of what Victor was doing, in terms of he didn't. So number one, the first thing we find out is that Victor was doing all this stuff behind Jigen's back, and yet at the same time Jigen had already figured it out, and so he's essentially just giving Victor the opportunity to hang himself. Now with that, I'm totally okay with it, because this is an opportunity to actually build up Jigen and the Car organization. I thought that was very good and very important, because this is directly setting up information that we're going to get once Car actually meets about the vessel. And I like how the vessel is directly mentioned in this episode. So it goes back to what I've said before. All this stuff that is occurring before the events of, I believe, Boruto chapter 15, at the end of that chapter where the Car organization meets and they start discussing everything. So I thought that was good, because again, this is directly setting up the ending portion of chapter 15. So this does confirm what I've been telling you guys for a while, that this Car actuation arc takes place between the Mujina Bandits arc and before we get to the meeting where Car talks about the vessel, which is actually the start of the Owl arc. So I thought this was good. Now the other thing I thought was very interesting about this is that based on the little tidbits that we've gotten in the actual anime so far in this episode, they're directly confirming everything that Kodachi said in one of his V-Jump magazine end of the Boruto manga volume interviews, is that the Car organization is very complex and that they've been gathering and attaining influence in the Five Great Nations for a very long time. And what we find out in this episode is that Shikamaru and Kakashi and Tsunade, they put the pieces together right away as they get the intel. And Naruto, to Naruto's credit, Naruto has started to put the pieces together himself, and we see more of the political aspect of Naruto's Hokage. And this is something that I've wanted to see for a very long time, ever since I read the Shikamaru Shinden novel, The Cloud Drifting Through the Forlorn Hope, which takes place ironically around this time that you're seeing now, where Naruto is sending information to the Five Kage, and you're seeing the pushback on technology, and you're seeing in this episode how Naruto's kind of embracing technology. I like how this episode is kind of showing you that struggle and the political implications of the different decisions that Naruto is making. That's something that novel hammered home a lot, and I still have hope the anime covers it at some point, but they're likely going to do it outside the traditional timeline format like they did the other novels that they've done in Naruto Shippuden and in the Boruto anime. But what I will say here is that I like how we see the confirmation what Kodachi says. He says Kara has been assembling in the Five Great Nations They've been pushing medical development, they've been pushing the technology development, the development of scientific ninja weapon tech. They have people in very high places, they have people in high influence, and it directly confirms stuff I've been saying, that hey, Car was gonna be behind what you got with Onoki and in the Hidden Stone Village arc. And what I like here is that, you know, you just get this huge build up for the Car organization, which is one of the things that they said was a huge goal for this Car actuation arc, and I think that they've done a good job here. Now, the other thing that I like here is that when you see the information that gets conveyed by Hanabi to the Tsuchikage, you see how in that moment Onoki's sins are still coming home, and it's so ironic because Onoki was one of the main ones who was funding the Akatsuki back in the day. He was giving them missions and funding them, which is something a lot of people overlook. Before the Biju hunt, the Akatsuki, they funded themselves by taking on mercenary work, and Onoki openly admitted and damn near caused the ninja war because Gar wanted all the smoke during the Five Kage summit once he found this out. But during that time, Onoki was giving the Akatsuki members missions. That way they could get their funds, and also so the Hidden Stone Village wouldn't be directly tied to different assassination missions that the Akatsuki were undertaking. So I thought that that was good. I thought that was good because once again, Onoki, his past decisions are haunting him even in his grave, because now you see that Car, because of all the information they got, the fabrications, they were able to turn around and use this to benefit Car. So I thought that this was good. I thought this was good. I thought that was good. I also thought that it was very interesting how Naruto, when he hears from Sai, the fact that that young boy that he and Sasuke encountered was more than likely a Car outer member. Once this happens, you just see the look on Naruto's face. Naruto's face drops at this point, and Tsunade even says that this is very dangerous, that you have people who are so sympathetic to the Car organization and their beliefs that they're being used, which means that everybody that comes into this village, everybody comes in here, they could be a problem. And Shikamaru doubles down on that. Shikamaru goes as far as to suggest that they close down the borders, and Tsunade backs him. And what I like in this moment is that Shikamaru says the information about how Momoshiki was defeated was classified information known only to the Five Kage and the people that were involved, and yet somehow Car figured out all that information. It was never disclosed to us in the manga how they knew that Momoshiki was killed, and Car was working under the assumption that it was Naruto who killed Momoshiki. We never actually saw how they got that information. Now we can put the pieces together. There's a mole inside of one of the Five Kage's advisory groups, people that advise them, that has leaked that information out. That's the only way they would have got it, because now we know for certain that the Five Kage, that information didn't go any further than their inner circle right there. So that's interesting. That's interesting because now you have to look a lot closer at some of these people, and we know that Car has influence. It's gonna be very interesting to see who that potential mole is, and it's going to be very interesting to see if maybe it's somebody connected to a feudal lord who actually finds that information, because you would think the Kage would share that information with the feudal lord. So it's going to be very interesting to see where they kind of connect that bridge there. But I like how Naruto, when Naruto gets that information, Naruto realizes he has to shut down the village borders. He has to, because it's a security risk. And what's so interesting here is that when it comes to Naruto as Hokage, this is one of his crowning achievements as Hokage, which is the fact that Naruto took what Kakashi pushed forward as Hokage. Kakashi pushed the embracement of technology, but Naruto fully embraced it, and as Naruto's Hokage, the Hidden Leaf Village has become the capital of the Land of Fire. This was not always the case, and so what I like in this moment right here is that Naruto has allowed more people to come into the village. Under Kakashi, there were more people who were just shinobi families living inside of Konoha, but because Naruto's Hokage has opened up the floodgates and allowed so many people who were not actual shinobi shinobi and did not have shinobi ties and connections to actually come here and start living and start building up the central business district in the way that he did. Stuff like this all falls on Naruto because people have been walking in and out of the village who could have been potential Kara sympathizers, and even the police chief that he's walking alongside says like, hey, you know, because we're so open, that's how the Byakuya gang incident happens. You know, that's how the Mujina Bandits incident happens. You know, we're so big right now, we can't actually protect our villagers because we don't know who the actual threat is. And even the people who are guarding the gate, they're even looking and they're saying like, look, you know, compared to the past, there's more people entering and leaving the village. We don't have enough staff to thoroughly check everybody that comes in. And they try and cover their bases after they said it, because they're basically telling the Hokage, we really can't do our job, but hey, we're in a time of peace right now. And what I like here is that Naruto, before he makes this decision to leave the gates open, Naruto is looking around and he's trying to look at all aspects, and he wants to see the civilian life while also kind of looking from a security standpoint to see, is the cost of the security too great for the rights that the people who are inside of Konoha have? Because stuff like the Thunder Train is very convenient. Instead of traveling over 3 days to go from Konoha to the Hidden Sand Village, you can get there in the matter of a day because of how fast it moves. So Naruto, by embracing technology as he has and pushing the other 5 Kage to embrace technology in the way that they have, Naruto has made the ninja world so interconnected, and yet at the same time this has caused problems. So this is interesting. This is interesting to see Naruto struggle like this. This is what I mean when I say I love the political aspect of what you actually see in Naruto. And if they ever do the Shikamaru Shinden novel, that's basically a 13th chairman arc for the Boruto series. If you guys have watched Hunter x Hunter, you know exactly what the 13th chairman arc is. That's basically what that novel is right there. So I thought this was good, and I also thought it was good that Naruto is getting counsel from Kakashi. And I like how even though Kakashi's no longer Naruto's sensei, he's still giving Naruto the advice. And I like that metaphor that you get when Kakashi catches the fish from outside the actual village, and Kakashi says it's a bit of a nuisance, and he kind of gives you the pros and cons of new things coming into the village. And he says at the end of the day, people are going to respect your authority. So I thought this was very much needed right here to see how Naruto arrives to the decision to beef up the actual security infrastructure of the village. And I like how it's actually the next generation that gives Naruto the idea to start moving forward in this manner. I think Naruto is pushing more towards locking down the gates until he saw Dinky with that hot air balloon find a way to connect people from other villages by technology, much in the same way that chakra is used, as part of Naruto's belief that technology can be used much in the same way that chakra can be used to connect people. So I thought that that was good, and I like the small Easter egg. If you did not read Kakashi Hiden, which I'm pretty sure I covered this scene on Kryptonian Saiyan. If not, I'll definitely cover it here on this channel. But I like how Naruto sees that hot air balloon, and Naruto, for a moment, Naruto's eyes get really big, and that's something you might overlook. But this is what I mean when I say the Boruto anime pays so many Easter eggs to the novels that took place in the blank period. Naruto had a huge fear of technology, and when he first found out about the hot air balloon, Naruto immediately went into a panic and freaked out. It was a pretty hilarious scenario, and so I like this little moment right here where Naruto sees that. But I like how you just see from that to how Naruto goes up to the Hokage monument, and how Naruto's just completely chill about it. It's really nice to see this actual growth of Naruto as a character. However, I want to know from you guys though, how do you guys feel about Naruto's decision? Do you think Naruto should have locked down the actual gates? And my second question is now that we've seen how Shikamaru would have handled things, do you think that this shows that Shikamaru is actually somebody who would make a good Hokage? And I want to ask this for the manga readers as well, because you know the current situation in the manga, so you know where these events have ultimately led us to. Who do you think was actually right here? Do you think Naruto was right to keep the gates open, or do you think Shikamaru was right that they needed to close down the Konoha gates until they properly reassess the situation and investigate everybody in the village? Let me know. This is very important right here, so please let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.